Your beliefs are the most powerful thing you own. And once you realize how to change them, you can literally change the trajectory of your life. Let me teach you how. Basically, you see your life through a filter all the time. And this is the filter of what you believe. Here's the truth. Most of you are walking around with filters so outdated, so biased, that you can't even see the opportunities in front of you. You carry the beliefs of your parents, your teachers, friends, and let these beliefs influence you and sabotage you in your everyday life. Every single event in your life passes through this filter, passes through your beliefs before it ever reaches your conscious mind. Let me give you an example. You're walking on the street and you see a person you know, and the person you know is ignoring you. Before you can even process it, your brain will already have an interpretation of that event. It will say to you, for example, oh my gosh, this person just ignored me. They must not like me. Something's off. Something's wrong. What did I do wrong? Anxious thought spirals. You know? Other option, you hold different beliefs, which will then lead to the interpretation of the very same event in a different way. You will say to yourself, oh, this person is not looking at me. She must be really busy. Or, this person must be really lost in their own thoughts right now. I wonder what's going on with them. Maybe I should ask them the next time we meet each other if everything's all right. See, this is the same situation, literally same input, but how you choose to interpret it is different. And this is what I mean by beliefs shape how we view reality. So, some of us have grown up in environments where we have learned very positive beliefs about ourselves. Maybe we were reinforced a lot. We were taught that we can believe in ourselves, that we can do anything if we set our mind to it. That's great. But others, we have grown up in environments where it was difficult, where we were told that we can't do things, that we're not as good as we think we are, that we're not as good as others, that we need to work twice as hard to reach the same things. And this is where it becomes difficult because these beliefs are not true, of course. Those are biased. They are outdated. And the thing is with these beliefs is they are very hard to change. We use them, we build them very early in life, and then we navigate through life using this structure. And if we don't actively challenge them, if we don't actually work on changing them, they don't change. And we will keep interpreting the world in the same way, in the same negative way. So, in the situation I just described to you, nothing in the outside world changed, but the interpretation, the belief was different. The dangerous part is when you never question your beliefs, your mind will keep giving you the same emotional outcomes over and over again, even if the world is different. And this is how people stay stuck in old patterns. So, what do limiting beliefs look like? Usually, they look like some sort of if-then sentence. So, you might think to yourself, if I don't achieve A, B, and C, I'm not worthy of going on a trip. Or if I go and try to speak to new people, they will immediately think that I'm awkward and won't like me. This is how our beliefs usually look like. And your brain isn't doing this to be cruel. These limiting beliefs are basically a survival mechanism. So you learned them somewhere along the way. And maybe there actually was a situation in which you got to know a new person and it was kind of awkward. And then your brain sort of took note of that and manifested that as a belief. But this was one situation. You learned that once. And the problem with these beliefs is they actually influence your behavior. And what a belief like that does is it will keep you from going into new situations, making different experiences. So if you believe in your mind that every time you meet a new person, it will be awkward, you will avoid meeting new people, which will then in turn lead to you not meeting new people. And this way you can't convince yourself that you're not always awkward and that you're not always not liked by people. So this is what's happening. Your beliefs aren't just mental ideas, they literally live in your nervous system. So your body reacts to them the same way that it reacts to real events. That means that if you believe that you're about to be rejected, your body, before you even try to approach someone, your heart rate goes up, your muscles tighten, and you start behaving like rejection is inevitable because this is what you believe is going to happen. This is literally anxiety. Your beliefs influence your actions, which then influence what you achieve, your results, which then in turn influence your beliefs again. So this is a chain reaction. If you believe that you can't follow through with anything, that you're inconsistent, that you're lazy, you will act accordingly. You will sabotage yourself. You will procrastinate, which will then lead to you not having the results that you need, that you wanted, and this will reinforce the belief. So you don't go out into the world and act in a way that actually, serves your goals, but you act in the world in a way that fits your beliefs. And once you realize that your mind is literally a prediction machine and you're doing everything to avoid prediction error, this is where you can change the chain reaction. If you change the belief, you can change your actions, which will change your results, which will in turn change your beliefs. This is where you have to intervene. So the first step to changing your limiting beliefs, changing the negative beliefs that you acquired over your life, is to find them. Ask yourself, where am I avoiding what I want? Okay? This is the best question to really define those limiting beliefs. If you ask yourself, where am I avoiding what I want? The excuse that you give yourself for avoiding what you want is usually the belief you hold. So, for example, if you really want to become an actor and you say to yourself that as an excuse, well, but I'm just really not good with people, then this is the limiting belief you have. This is where you're sabotaging yourself, and this is what you have to work on. Second of all, you have to accept the filter. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. The world is literally a reflection of what you believe. This is insane to realize. This is why two people can go through the same breakup, for example, and one sees it as a devastating experience and the other person will see it as a fresh start. Okay? Same reality, different interpretation. But accepting that you see the world through a filter is the first step to changing it. Third step, write down your beliefs. This is how you create a psychological distance from those beliefs, because the problem is we start to identify with our beliefs and we really think that what we hold in our minds is true. And we're constantly in our minds. 24/7, you are in your mind. You're with your thoughts, and your thoughts start to sound so real, even though they are sometimes not. For example, you tell yourself that you don't deserve to rest. That is ridiculous. But if you think it over and over again, and if you loop this thought over and over again, it will start to sound like the truth. But if you write it down, you create a distance and you go into spectator mode and you see that that is actually ridiculous to think about. Step 4 is to flip it. Flip the belief around. You don't need to believe the opposite yet, okay? Because this is difficult. I mean, your belief system is literally how you navigate the world and how you have navigated the world for a long time. So it's difficult to change it immediately. But what you can do is to try it on. So if your belief is strangers don't really like me, act for one day as if they do, okay? Act like a person that believes that strangers like them. Smile. Start a conversation. See what happens. And I promise you, you will find evidence that shows you that your belief, which was that strangers don't like you, that belief was wrong. And this is the process of cognitive reappraisal, where you're deliberately changing your interpretation. And this will also change your emotional response to the situation. Step 5 is, please reject double standards, because a lot of the times we hold ourselves to rules that we would never ever give anyone else. So for example, if a belief that you hold is, every time that I say that I look good, I am arrogant, or I come off as arrogant, think of yourself, or change the perspective. Think, okay, if a friend would say this, if a friend would look into the mirror in front of me and say, oh, I look nice today, don't you think? Would you think that that person is arrogant? No, you would not. You only think this when it comes to yourself. And this is what you have to do sometimes. Sometimes your beliefs are so rude that you really have to take a perspective shift and imagine somebody else saying this to you or saying this about themselves. You also wouldn't think that somebody else is weak if they ask for help, right? So really, when it comes to your beliefs, ask yourself, would you ever believe that is about someone else? And if the answer is no, then that is probably a limiting and very toxic belief that's holding you back. Now, and the last step is basically you have to be patient with this upgrade. Your brain will fight for the familiar. It will fight for the consistency because this is how we are wired. And it will take some time to change these beliefs, especially if they're so automatic. But if you really start acting as if you believe the opposite already, you will be able to rewire your brain and flip this process. Because as I said, if you change your beliefs, you will change your actions, which will change your results, and then in turn change your beliefs. So this is a process. If you start it, it will roll.